Welcome. I'm April. This is Gigi in Tennessee, and it's nice to have you here. In today's video, we are gonna cook two Cajun classics. We are gonna cook a traditional Louisiana king cake, and we are gonna cook the classic Louisiana jambalaya. You can't get any more Mardi Gras than that. So enjoy the video, and I hope you make some of this stuff. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Enjoy. We're gonna start with a tablespoon of garlic, a tablespoon of Cajun seasoning, and a tablespoon of onion powder. We're gonna mix this up, and we're gonna take olive oil. I'm gonna drizzle just a little bit. Give it one more quick stir, cover it, and let it rest in the fridge for a couple of hours. We are doing our first giveaway for 2024, and our first giveaway is this adorable little heart-shaped Dutch oven from the beautiful collection by Drew. I was in Walmart trying to pick up some last-minute wrapping paper, and I turned the aisle and I saw this cute little heart-shaped Dutch oven. It stopped me in my tracks. You can do lots of things with a Dutch oven, and it's the most adorable little shape, and it was a great price. For those of you that don't know, we lost our home in Hurricane Laura in 2020, over 20 years of accumulation of everything we owned. So I don't have anything. I thought, I could do a lot with this. I could cook a lot of goodies in here. Then I also thought this would be a great heirloom to pass down. And then I have a daughter-in-law who has a birthday on Valentine's Day, and I'm so thankful to have her in our lives. And this pot made me think of her. So I picked one up for her, picked one up for me, and then I picked one up for one of you, for one of my beautiful subscribers. I just found sweet and spicy Tabasco in the back of the refrigerator, so we are gonna add that to the shrimp marinade. It's cold. I don't know how easily it'll pour. Oh wow, it's thick. Okay, maybe it shouldn't be in the refrigerator. This particular flavor, sweet and spicy, is new to me. Let's give it a toss and put this in the refrigerator. We are gonna melt a block of cream cheese and a stick of butter. 3 minutes in, this is what it looks like. Go ahead and turn it off. Add a half a cup of sugar. We're gonna mix this together. Next, we're gonna add 1.5 teaspoons of salt. Once all of this is mixed up, you're gonna add 1 cup of milk. I did take this milk out about an hour ago. It's chilled, but it's not ice cold. All right, step 1, done. We're gonna take this off the burner. We're gonna let it cool, and as it cools, we're gonna do step 2. Step 2, we have 1/4 cup of warm water. I'm gonna add 1 tablespoon of white sugar and 2 tablespoons of yeast. Now that we gave it a quick stir, we're gonna let this rest for about 10 minutes. I really like this method because it ensures that the yeast is alive. The temperature was about 100 degrees. It was warm, but it was not hot. I'm gonna let this sit for 10 minutes. We'll come back to it. 15 minutes later, we've given the yeast an opportunity to rise. This has cooled. We're gonna add our yeast, 2 eggs, and 6 cups of flour. I'm finished with the whole wheat flour. I'm moving on to this white lily flour. I bought this flour a couple of months ago for one specific recipe from our favorite restaurant that I have not even attempted to make yet. I figured if I open the flour, I'll be more inclined to have to use it. 6 cups. You know, what we're about to do is transfer it all to the bosh. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this pan and we're gonna pour this into the bosh. We're just gonna set the dough hook on here. This should take 5 to 8 minutes. Speed 1. Set the timer. All right, we got it in a bowl. We're gonna cover it and we're gonna let it rise 1 to 2 hours. Could take maybe even up to 3 hours. It's supposed to take a little bit longer than bread. We want it to double in size. So we are gonna split that king cake into 2, and we're gonna make 2 separate king cakes. The traditional Louisiana classic king cake, and this is what the filling is gonna consist of. Equal parts brown sugar, white sugar, and pecans. If you put a half a cup of brown sugar, you're gonna do a half a cup of pecans and a half a cup of white sugar. A couple of tablespoons of raisins, a shot of bourbon, and a couple of tablespoons of cinnamon. So however much you put raisins, that's how much you put cinnamon. We're gonna start with the brown sugar, the white sugar, and the cinnamon. Give it a stir. Take the bourbon and we're gonna add it to the raisins. Give them a stir, put them aside, and let them sit for a while so they could plump up in that bourbon. Take the pecans. If you wanna break them up, you can break them up. We like whole pecans, so I'm gonna leave ours whole. We're probably gonna add a layer of cream cheese to this king cake as well because we love cheesecake in our king cakes. You're gonna add bourbon raisins, to the sugar pecan mixture, and then you're gonna just put it aside until you're ready for it. Our next king cake, we're gonna use a combination of cream cheese and powdered sugar and blackberry jam. So this one is going to be a blackberry cream cheese king cake, but you use whatever you have. And we are going to need more powdered sugar to make the icing. An hour and a half later, it has doubled in size. Punch it down, divide it in half. The dough was punched down, divided into two. That's one. Here's the second one. Then you roll it out. This one is going to be the traditional king cake with the brown sugar, cinnamon, and pecans. We are going to add cream cheese to it. We're going to add cream cheese to both of them. So we're going to take this mixture and fill it out, kind of like you're making cinnamon rolls, but the dough's different. We're gonna take the cream cheese and we're just gonna line it up. And I'll still have enough cream cheese for the other one. Take the sides and fold them over. We'll do the ends. We'll shape it into a king cake and put it on the tray. So for our second king cake, I thought this was blackberry jam. I opened it, it's blackberry jelly. That's okay. So this is what it looks like. We're gonna fold this one up, get it on the pan, and then we'll add the egg wash and get it in the oven. We're gonna bake at 350 for 30 to 35 minutes. This is how thick it is. The timer just went off. I pulled these out of the oven, but they look like they were a hot mess. That's okay. We're gonna doctor them up. Especially this one, I made the mistake and I put the baby in it after I had already made it. And you can see where I tore a big old hole, but that's okay. Nobody's hardly gonna be able to tell. And the most important part is they are gonna be absolutely delicious. All right, friends, it's an hour later. The king cakes have completely cooled, so I just transferred them to the serving platters. They are far from perfect. They have lots of imperfections. That's okay, that's homemade. I'm gonna icing them and then I'm gonna put the sugar. Traditionally, king cakes have green, gold, and purple sugar. Well, I don't wanna buy anything unnecessarily, so I figured, well, I can make my own. I don't really like to use a lot of food coloring, so I came up with a couple of other alternatives. I don't know if the camera is gonna pick this up. It's a very light purple, almost like a lilac. All I did was take a little bit of this pomegranate juice, mix it up with sugar to get the purple. Now this is not gold, it's brown raw sugar, but it's close enough to gold. But it's actually more of an authentic mardigras color than, let's just say, sun daisy yellow. Like this. This is what you most commonly see on king cakes, but this is the more traditional gold mardigras color. And I have some green. We are gonna doctor up the holes. Now for the icing, I made one a little thinner, so I added a little bit more milk, and one thicker. I did that intentionally because I want to use the thicker icing on the spots that have lots of rips and holes, and the thinner icing everywhere else. I took some of the thicker icing and I just kind of lightly poured it over all the imperfections. That way when we cover everything, nobody's gonna really know where the imperfections were. So we put the icing. Now all we have to do is sprinkle sugar. I'm gonna clean up the mess around this. All right, friends, here we go. Cajun jambalaya, the fast and easy way. Cut up one onion. It doesn't matter what size. It does matter that it's a fresh onion. It has to be crisp. It cannot be an onion from the freezer, or it cannot be dehydrated onion. It has to be one fresh whole onion. Get some oil in the pot and start heating it up. I put it on high heat for about 30 seconds, and then I turned it to medium high, and I'm gonna let this heat up for about 3 minutes. You want a good source of fat? I just opened a new bottle of avocado oil. I like to use avocado oil because it has such a high smoke point. Just like if you were frying French fries, take one little piece of onion and put it on there. It did not sizzle, so it's not hot enough. So we'll give it another minute or so. Starting to fry, that's what you want. As soon as you see that, go ahead and get your onion in the pot. I recommend making jambalaya in a Dutch oven with a lid. This one happens to be 7 quarts. The other thing that I think is a must for jambalaya is a wooden spoon. You can stir the bottom of the Dutch oven and it won't scrape it up. So for the first couple of minutes, it is going to require you to constantly stir. As soon as you see little brown specks, go ahead and turn the heat down to medium. If you keep it on high, it's going to burn the onions. This is on medium. You could even do medium low if this is your first time and you're a little nervous about burning the onions. The onions have to cook really, really well. We're going to have to caramelize a lot. So it's going to take a while. This is the hardest part of making a jambalaya. Okay, the reason it's going to take longer than a typical gravy is because there's no bits at the bottom of the pan. We didn't brown the meat first. So there was nothing for the onions to pick up on to help release their natural sugars quicker. So it's going to take longer. That's okay. Cajuns are patient cooks. It's worth the wait to have the good stuff. We're gonna use this time to prep our other ingredients. Here's a snapshot of everything that we are gonna use. 1 stalk of celery, 1 jalapeno, or a bell pepper, depending on if you want the spice or what you have. The most important thing is that the celery and the pepper need to be fresh. Gonna also use a couple of bay leaves, salt, pepper, and cayenne pepper. No garlic, no Cajun seasoning because my Cajun seasoning has garlic in it. 2 cups of rice, 2 to 4 cups of stock. We are gonna use the shrimp stock that we just made. This is that little bit of sausage that I reserved when we had sausage on a bun. You can do a half a pound of shrimp, pound of shrimp. You can use whatever you got. I have 1 pound of shrimp. It has been marinated. And we are gonna use about a half a pound of chicken that I pulled out the freezer. It was previously cooked in the Instapot. Save it for fast, easy nights like this. So this is what we have to work with. We're gonna cut this and we're gonna cut this. I wanna show you how dark this is already. The onions got this dark in just the amount of time that it took me to pull all this stuff out of the fridge. We still need to dice this jalapeno and this celery. By the time we're done doing that, I think that this is going to be good to go. We want it as brown as possible without burning. The reason is because the darker the onions get, the sweeter they become. I diced up the celery before the pepper because I want the celery to be able to soften a little bit more than the pepper. So you go in order of how long you want each ingredient to cook. These onions are pretty toasty. This is going to be so yummy. We finished cutting the jalapeno, so it's gonna now go into the pot, seeds and all. If you don't like spice, omit the seeds or omit the pepper. We'll let this brown for a minute. I could have had all this pre-cut ahead of time, but this is a dish that you have to be right here watching. So it's easier for me to take the time and cut these things right here, right now, while I could still be standing here, rather than set a timer for a minute or 2 minutes and try to go do something else. So I saved the pre-cut stuff for other dishes that I don't have to babysit, and I just take the time and I enjoy the process. It only takes a few minutes, and I know that we're gonna have a wonderful Cajun mardigras meal. That took maybe a minute. The onions are almost black. That's exactly what we wanted. So this whole process has taken maybe 15 minutes. Keep it on low, add the sausage, and see if we can get a little bit of caramelization on the sausage. Since we're finished cutting everything and I'm standing right here, I'm gonna turn the heat up just a tad. They are getting a little bit of color. The next thing we're gonna do is add our bay leaves. I'm using 4 bay leaves. Give it a toss. Next, we're gonna add our chicken. This is pre-cooked chicken. It's time for the shrimp. Give it a quick toss. Now we're gonna add our rice. This is 2 cups of rice. This is medium grain white rice. Black pepper, cayenne pepper, and salt. Give it a good stir. Now's the time to use your wooden spoon to make sure nothing is sticking on the bottom. So you want to cook this for 3 to 5 minutes. So it's been about 3 minutes, and I want to show you what it looks like at the bottom of the pot. So it's browning and it's not burning. This is going to stick as it cooks. It's supposed to. It's going to create a nice gratin. Okay, now we're going to add our broth. This is 4 cups of the shrimp broth that we made together. We're gonna start with about 3 cups. Give it a stir. We're gonna keep it on medium high. We're gonna bring it up to a boil until most of this liquid is evaporated. Oh my, do I wish we had smell-o-vision. I wish I can have you all over for this Mardi Gras celebration. We are gonna garnish with fresh green onions and fresh parsley. I have to go outside and pick some, but that'll be later. Okay friends, here's the tricky part. I'm using my wooden spoon to push the bottom of the pot so you can see nothing is sticking. But it's about to, and we're not gonna be able to touch it. We are gonna put the lid on and we are not gonna touch it for 30 to 45 minutes. The time is gonna depend on your cooking surface, how hot it gets, how much control you have over it. I have a gas stove and this burner does burn pretty high, even on its lowest setting. So we are gonna put this on the lowest setting now that almost all of the liquid is evaporated. The lowest it goes. We're gonna cover this thing up, set a timer. I'm gonna do 10 minutes. The timer just went off. Go ahead and turn the fire off. We are not gonna open the lid. We are gonna set the timer again for at least 20 minutes, preferably 30 minutes, to let it rest and finish cooking. The timer just went off. It's time to check our jambalaya. We're gonna open it together. Some good stuff. Okay, I'm gonna show you the bottom of the pan. When you do like this and you use your wooden spoon or your wooden spatula, you see how the bottom is really brown? That's called some gratin. I like to take it and mix it all up. But you can see it is not burnt. Nothing is stuck in the bottom of that pot. Woohoo! Some good Cajun stuff right here. Perfect for Mardi Gras. Right before serving, add fresh parsley and fresh green onions from the garden. And you can pull out the bay leaves. Mardi Gras food at its finest. 2 homemade king cakes. These would be really cute dressed up with Mardi Gras beads. That used to be in the old house. I don't have any Mardi Gras beads here, but if you go to Louisiana Mardi Gras parade and you get some beads, keep them. You could use them to decorate for stuff like this. I might have to ask one of my friends back home for some Mardi Gras beads next time I go. Let's cut into this one. Blackberry and cream cheese. Traditional Louisiana king cake. This one is the one that has the baby. I'm not cutting into this king cake because I'm giving it away. Y'all, my mouth is watering. Let's have a taste of this. This is so delicious. But wow, it is spicy. You're gonna need a glass of milk with this or some kind of adult beverage. It's about an hour later. This is what's left. This is my second bowl of jambalaya. This is some good Cajun stuff, Yasha. I hope you are encouraged to make either one or maybe both of these Mardi Gras classics. Until next time.